Choices, chances, and consequences. The decisions that you make or don't make, they're going to affect your future.
What controls you, courage or fear?
I believe I know what I can get this.
Choices, chances.
What's up? It's your girl, Falashade Okenmoken, the owner of Unscripted TV. And I'm just here to let you know that we have a new show. And it's called Redefining Now, where we discuss redefining moments from the past, coming up in the future, while talking to some game-changing movers and shakers making history right now. Hey, everybody. All right. I am excited to be here. Welcome to Redefining Now, where we discuss current events, trends, and influential people across the diaspora, and in that order. Again, I am your host, Falashade Okenmoken, the creator of Unscripted TV, which is the interactive cinematic experience bringing you amazing Black content in an immersive way. So please join in on the conversation, especially if you're on Facebook. Leave some comments, and if you're on in the actual unscripted experience, then make sure that you're on the sidebar panel talking to us, because we're going to have some really interactive things that are going to be happening there. And if you're not there, make your way. So share this with your friends, share this with everyone. But we're really excited to have you on today. Now, let's see. We have a few hot topics, and normally I don't talk about these things, but I thought that it was really important that we touch base on some things that are going on in the world. So right now we're going to talk about some redefining moments. So up first, well, not up first right now, but basically as soon as I'm done talking about what the redefining moments are, we're going to make our way back to our Women's History Month, because we're still celebrating Women's History Month. And today we'll be celebrating an amazing woman who is working at America on Tech. She is actually the CEO, and she is the co-founder, and she has an amazing story to tell and to share with us about why she's in this and why we're celebrating her this month. So we'll be coming back to her very soon. But right now, what I want to talk to you about is that after all of this, we have an amazing creator named Maya Table, who she recently made a documentary about Damian Gross, who's a beautiful model living with cerebral palsy. Obviously, we're all about redefining our narratives. Woo, I can't breathe. We're all about redefining our narratives. And oftentimes, when people see people with disabilities or different abilities, because I don't even like the word disability really, but when people see people with different abilities, they automatically think of them differently. And I think that it was just a very authentic way of using her storytelling skills to share Damian Gross's story. I'm excited to share that film with you towards the end of the show today. And just to really see this amazing redefiner Maya, but also to see this amazing redefined Damien, who's really making a new name for himself. I'm so proud of him. He's an amazing model, and you'll be able to see that all in his film. I'm gonna play the trailer for you right now so that you know what you have coming up, and then we're going to get right into our redefining moments of the week, and then we're gonna talk to our amazing guest, who is, of course, Jessica Santana. But check out this trailer right now about Damien.
My name is Damien Gross,
I was diagnosed with cerebral palsy.
and I want to work in New York Fashion Week.
So Dapper Dan, if you see this, please hire me. The biggest misconception about me. People, they always think I'm stupid. Like, just last night on Twitter, somebody said, "How did you tweet that? Who types this for you?" They had the nerve to say that I was too intelligent to be disabled. But when they hear me talk and see how educated I am, they be blown away every time.
Yes, Damien, we can't wait to watch your full film at the end of the show tonight and to see how you're able to just share your authentic story. But right now, we're going to get into some redefining moments. So, of course, we're going to talk about the amazing Kevin Samuels versus Derek Jackson. I don't know if you've been under a rock, but if you have not been under a rock, then you know what's going on. If you have, I'm definitely going to get you all caught up with everything going on with that. Then we're going to talk about an interesting discussion from the Bring It On creator, Jess B. And then we're going to address the real culprit behind the mass shootings in America, what they have in common, and what needs to be done about it. But right now, we're going to dive right in and just go through all of these. So let's do it really quickly. First up is the Kevin Samuels versus Derek Jackson debate. If you have been here, then you know that Kevin Samuels has gone legendary. Like, everybody's been watching him. He went viral for really, people said, attacking a woman, calling her average at best. I'm actually going to show you a clip from that. But really, what he talks about is giving dating advice from the eye of a high value man. He's extremely blunt. He doesn't take any pushback, but he's also very direct and upfront. And sometimes you have to appreciate a man who can actually speak up and be direct and upfront. And then you've seen the memes of Derek Jackson, the self-proclaimed relationship coach through health, healing, and God. And it's best that I just let you see for yourselves the difference between both of them to understand what's really happening on the internet between them, because people are choosing sides. And I am so curious to know if you are team Kevin Samuels or if you're team Derek Jackson. And while you're like, what does this have to do with unscripted? Honestly, it has a lot to do with unscripted, because one of the things that we talk about is the Black family. And it's important to figure out, you know, like what we need to do to continue to build on it and to continue to grow within it. And Kevin Samuels believes that he has some ideas on how people can create great relationships and grow together. And Derek Jackson also feels like he has ideals. But obviously, Derek Jackson just had some recent unveilings that came out. I'm gonna just press play. You guys can catch up, and then I'm gonna talk about it right after, and we're gonna keep it moving. So here's a quick snippet from both parties. You tell me what you think after.
What's going on, guys? Derek Jackson here, and today I am joined by my lovely wife, Danaea, and we just wanted to address a couple of things. You know, we understand that some of you may have already heard, maybe not, that this chapter of our marriage is one that was preceded by a marriage that I completely failed. And I would say it just started around August, maybe September of last year. But, you know, a lot has been said already about what was the cause and all that other stuff. Some of it is true. Some of it is completely false. But the truth is, and I'm saying it here now, is that Derek Jackson was involved with other women outside the marriage. And by involved, I want to be clear, I'm not talking about just casually kicking it, maybe a lunch or something like that. I'm talking about as serious as sex, to sexual flirtation and meeting up and that kind of thing. And some things that otherwise may be considered okay by some in terms of like just chatting or checking on people or being checked on by people that I've had a previous encounter with. But without my wife's knowledge of it and with us having a sexual history, all of it falls under the umbrella of inappropriate, cheating, affair, stepping out. Definitely not in alignment with the vows that I took.
Talking about.
So can you see me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So do you feel like a woman like me?
Uh-huh. What would you rank yourself on a scale from 1 to 10? You cannot use 7.
Would I rate myself?
Just your face.
My face when I wake up, 5, but when I put myself together, 6. I really just wanted some advice. I love your
I'm giving you advice, but you're not taking it. The advice is, ma'am, you're average looking at best. Average looking women. Average looking woman who's older. Average looking older woman with a 13-year-old son. Average looking woman with a 13-year-old son with a sketchy baby daddy. This gets worse every time I say something. And now you're asking for a man who's in the top 10% of men.
Okay, so obviously that last clip was a bit harsh, and I can admit that, but that was the clip that got Kevin Samuels to go really viral. So here we go. There are 2 completely different men with 2 completely different styles. Derek Jackson, his style is the whole love as much as you can, be a strong man, support your woman. He's one of those types. And then Kevin Samuels is someone who feels like the man is the catch. And he is the one that women should be trying to work towards, and that they should figure out what lane that they're supposed to be in to kind of attract the man that they want to have in their future. Both guys say great things. Both guys say horrible things. The reality is both guys do things that I don't know. Like, I'm trying to figure out what you guys think. It has a lot to do with our community and what we need to do with uplifting it. They're at least having conversations that people don't normally have. We hear about black men don't cheat, but then we see black men actually cheat, even though they say that they won't cheat. Like, I'm not trying to break us up. I'm really trying to bring us together. So I'm going to pose a question in the unscripted page right now. So I'm putting this poll out there to see what you guys think. Do you believe that Kevin Samuels' education can actually increase the black marriage percentage? Because that's honestly what he thinks can happen. What is happening with Derek Jackson is people are saying that they no longer even want to follow his information, his following. They don't even want to understand what he's trying to teach. I don't know. Honestly, I'm just trying to see what you guys think and learn from us as we continue to grow. So I feel like I'm rambling, but I really felt like this was a redefining moment that we need to touch base on. I kind of agree with some of the things that Kevin Samuel says. I think that he's a bit harsh, and I do think that some of the stuff that he says is not needed, but for the most part, he does speak truth. I don't know. I definitely want to hear what you guys think. They're like 2 arch nemesis. They're going to be going back and forth on the internet. If you didn't catch the whole thing, go check out their Instagram pages and actually catch up with what's going on with Derek Jackson, who recently cheated on his wife, even though he's supposed to be like this perfect man who's doing these amazing things and giving relationship advice. Obviously, playing perfect hasn't worked for anyone on social media. I've rooted for a couple of different relationships. Not going to say how they're all doing, but answer that question in the poll. I'm going to move on to the next thing. All right. So let's bring it on down to, we were actually supposed to talk about Bring It On, but I'm going to save that for next week. I want to touch base on something else that's actually in my mind at this moment. I don't even feel like I'm going to give the Bring It On discussion what it deserves. So I really just want to get to this. So we just had a lighthearted moment, laughing and joking about Kevin Samuels and Derek Jackson with the black love in the community, something to get you to think about. But really, this is one of the topics that really gets to me. We talk about white privilege, And we're definitely going to step it up and talk about white terrorists, because what just recently happened last week with the killing of 8 Asian women in the spas, and then recently with another shooting in Boulder, Colorado, is the fact that, and if you look at this graphic that's on this screen right now, you'll see that most of the times when we have these mass killings, the person who is obtained is always able to be arrested. But then whenever we have these marches in our communities, when we're talking for the Black community, for the Hispanic community, for the Asian community, for any of the oppressed communities, we're always talking about somebody that's unarmed, or we're always talking about a different way that things could have gone, or a different way that things could have been addressed. And the fact is, these heavily armed people are always arrested, and we're always marching about how we're not being protected. So I wanted to dive in on something that I kind of wrote up. Now, this is unscripted, but obviously I had to write this down because I needed to kind of grasp my mind about what it was that I was trying to say. So the Black community has definitely endured a lot in this country. And I don't even need to show a clip to recall the hateful murders that happened in the Asian community in Atlanta. But there was an alarming article that stated that the Black community needed to help the Asian community in its fight and how it could do so. And while I definitely get what the writer was trying to say, we're both oppressed, facing racism. What they forgot is that Black Lives Matter and Stop Asian Hate would not even be a thing if white supremacists didn't exist. So basically what I'm saying is, in all of these elements that we're talking about white supremacy. So what just happened last week was white terrorism. What happened on January 6th at the Capitol, and I live in D.C., was white terrorism. But when we have marches, it's called something else, and we get treated completely different. And everyone was saying, like, if we would have stormed into the Capitol, we wouldn't have been able to do what they did. So we really have to address the real elephant in the room, and that is the fact that this is all about white supremacy. This is all about white terrorism, and you have to call it what it is in order for people to feel uncomfortable and to actually address the real issue. The issue isn't that we need to be kumbaya walking down the street and doing marches as the people who are being attacked. We need for the people who are doing the attacking to step up and figure out a way to fix the issue that's happening in their community, because it's affecting everybody. I completely forgot to read what I was saying, because this is just something that's happening. At this moment in time, we like to focus on uplifting our community and taking time to explain, educate, and defend a group of people who are not the oppressors. It seems as if we are preaching to the choir. It's time white people address their demons in the community. And no, not everyone is evil. And yes, we do have a lot of people that are actually helping to dismantle hate. But the bulk of the conversation needs to be geared towards the oppressors, the killers, the group of people actually causing violence, and not to the ones who are being perceived as violent. Even in our deaths, even as unarmed people, there have been so many instances when we've been perceived as a possible threat, so that these people can have, so that these police can have these charges dropped. It's disgusting. And at this point, it's no longer in our hands to keep telling people what to do. So with redefining now, we're definitely going to be building up and redefining moments within our community, but I definitely feel like this is also a conversation that needs to happen in your homes, over the dinner table, just in a way that you understand that this is not a conversation that we need to keep having in our community. You need to have this conversation as well. So let's do it. I don't think that we should stop saying Black Lives Matter or stop saying Stop Asian Hate, but I do think that we need to start saying stop white terrorism, stop white supremacy. Like, let's actually address what's really happening. Again, that's what's happening. I really just wanted to make sure that we got in on that. And all of that actually stems down to the reason why Unscripted even started. Unscripted started because there was a need for people like me who want to see themselves on TV, who want to actually see positive depictions of themselves on TV, and who actually feel like the news doesn't always speak to us. So the Unscripted started because we were trying to answer a call just like that. And now is the perfect opportunity for people to really start stepping into that role. So we're coming together as a community. We're asking for everybody to start coming together as their communities so that we can all come together and really make the change that we're supposed to be having. But with that, I'm excited to kind of shift gears into people who are game changers, who are actually taking those steps in the right directions to help make these big changes, these big gallops and moves in our communities. And right now, we're going to be talking and celebrating with an amazing woman for Women's History Month. Her name is Jessica Santana. And actually, let me pull her up. Let me show this. So her name is Jessica Santana, and she is the co-founder and CEO of America on Tech, which aims to prepare the next generation of technology leaders by providing students with access to the development, mentoring, networking, and professional experiences that prepare them for degrees and careers in technology. Jessica has a huge resume. Like, she's worked as a technology consultant for global brands such as JP Morgan Chase, Accenture, and Deloitte. She's been named an inaugural leader to the Robinhood Foundation's Power Fund, Forbes 30 Under 30, okay, NYN 40 Under 40, Rising Stars list. Oh my gosh, it goes on. But basically, she is a visionary that is working to close the racial wealth gap through tech jobs. And I'm really excited to bring her on. So everybody, please meet our amazing guest of the night, Jessica Santana, who we're celebrating tonight for Women's History Month. So welcome.
To be here with you.
Yes, it's nice to have you here. So first of all, how are you doing today?
I'm good. It's Tuesday. It is the beginning of the week, and so I still have a burst of energy. But ask me that question on Thursday, and it'll probably be a different answer.
That's crazy because Thursday to me is like Friday Eve. And that's really what I call it. I don't even call it Thursday. I call it Friday Eve. So I'm always like, once I get through this, it's the end of the week. But like tomorrow, don't ask me anything.
Yeah, Thursday's like Friday Junior. Someone on my team calls Thursday Friday Junior.
Exactly. That's how you got to get your mind right. So I know that we're definitely going to talk about all the amazing things that you do. But I swam through so many topics today. And I'm just curious if you had any thoughts on any of them.
I really enjoyed the fact that you brought up the stuff that's going on in our country. I think a lot of times the media, doesn't do a good job at painting the issues that are actually surfacing. And I think what you're really calling for is for society to say, like, hey, this is not about Asian people. It's actually about white people and their relationships to people of color in the ways that their behaviors are extremely problematic, extremely oppressive, and further help institutionalized racism really manifest in our country. So I really like that you mentioned that. And I also think that, I was on a call with a corporate partner earlier today, and they asked me if I had to, share any tweet out with anybody, what would it be during this time? And I said, it is important for us to know that no one is free until everyone is free. And when we start seeing each other as our brothers' keepers, our sisters' keepers, regardless of race, regardless of gender, I think we can, build a more inclusive society. And granted, there's a history here that has, not allowed for this to happen in the first place. But in order for me to believe in a better tomorrow, I have to believe that at one point we will find peace and that we will find commonalities in our struggle to come together as a united front to combat a lot of these issues that face us.
You said nothing but bars right there. We're probably gonna have to turn that into a whole little clip. That was really amazing, and I agree with you. I mean, that's also why we brought it up, but that's also really why we brought you on as well, because what did I do? Because you understand that with what you're doing, and I think that it's important for us to not only have the thought of what tomorrow could look like, but to also find out what our skills and what our passions are within us to actually make that step in that direction and to make that change. And I do feel like you've been able to do that with America on Tech. And I would just love to hear like how you even got into that.
Yeah. So my co-founder, his name is Evan Floyd Robinson. He was my best friend. We met together in college in 2009 at Syracuse University campus, and we didn't know each other prior to college. You know, it just so happens that when we connected, we realized we grew up in the same neighborhood. And so, you know, as soon as we realized that our neighborhood kind of bonded us together and bonded us together, it was really awesome to just have a best friend who was kind of like my co-conspirator in, you know, building dreams and reimagining what opportunities can look like for our people. And him and I followed very similar career trajectories in that we ended up, you know, being the first people in our family to graduate from college and then pursue a master's degree, and then ultimately start a career in the technology industry. And what we realized was that, you know, upon starting our careers, these were really high wage, high growth careers. Then all around us in the workplace, there were no people of color. And oftentimes I was the only woman of color on my teams. And so him and I got together in 2014 and on the back of Starbucks napkins, just started to jot down ideas on like, you know, what has to be true in order for people like us to get more of these opportunities, because we don't think that there was anything that made us special except for the fact that there were conditions around us that allowed us to pursue a higher education or pursue, you know, a training program that would lead us to a high growth, high wage career. And so, you know, it started out as a passion project with just 20 students in Brooklyn, New York. And since 2014, we've worked with more than 3,500 students across the nation. 85% of them are majoring in computer science or technology degree programs, or are actually working in the industry. And we have offices in New York and LA. And so, truthfully, thinking back to 2014, this project and this passion kind of took a life of its own. But, you know, I think it's really important to point out that, you know, regardless of where we started, it always started from a place of wanting to serve and wanting to give back and give voice to our communities.
And I just love that. And then you know what? You said something that really piqued my brain, especially when you were talking about sometimes you were the only woman or even the woman of color in these rooms. And that's something that's so big when it comes to technology and being in this space and you being a redefiner. Like now that you've made your mark, you know, like you're moving into these rooms and you're seeing things differently. How do you think things have changed with your program? Like how have you been able to bring in some of the diversity?
Yeah, for sure. You know, I think that when we first started, you know, we used to only believe like, oh, you know, students can't be what they can't see. And so as a result of that, it's the lack of exposure that is causing them to not get into degrees and careers in technology. So when we first started, for us, it was about exposure, exposure, exposure. As time passed, we realized, right, that it's not just lack of exposure. Exposure is an issue, right? But there's a reason for the lack of exposure that has a lot to do with the historical context of how racism and economics plays in our country, right? Like when you attend schools that are under resources because you're living in a community whose property taxes are not high, and if school funding is determined by property taxes and there's not enough home ownership, you don't get a lot of funding for extracurriculars and computer science programs and all these technical education programs within your schools. And so we started to see how, you know, a lot of the work that we were doing in the beginning stages was really important for us to set the foundation. But as we started working with more students and really listening to their stories and working in partnership with parents and corporate partners, as well as the students and the teachers in our program, we started to realize that the issue is very multifaceted. And as a result of that, you know, our programs now are not just about exposure. It's about hard, you know, technical training. It's about skills-based development for students. It's about giving them access to peer networks of like-minded individuals. It's about pairing them and brokering opportunities between our organization, where they're participants, and the actual industry by placing them into jobs, placing them into internships, and even us ourselves creating jobs through the organization. Right now we have about 24 students who are alumni of our program who work for us, who use us as temporary employment opportunities. So for us, we realize that in order to really address the racial wealth gap, it takes a village, and it's not just going to be us bringing a program that exposes students. It really has to be a program that is holistic in its approach, allows students to show up authentically as themselves, but also keeps the stakeholders who are decision makers in our kids' lives accountable to making sure that they are making good decisions that benefit them in the future.
That is so dope. When you said 24 of your students actually work for you that are alumni, like to me that's huge, especially when earlier you said that you weren't even expecting for this to be an organization. So for now for you to actually look back and say, yeah, like we actually have hired 24 of our students, that's like a big thing. And it goes into this idea that I have where people say that ideas can turn into reality. And you and your best friend in college were able to take an idea and turn it into a reality of sorts. So like, what is the reality that you want to see happen from America on Tech? Like what's the next 5 years? Like, what is that? What do you want?
Yeah, I really believe that the work that we're doing with America on Tech is going to create a highly trained pipeline of Black and Brown students. But as a result of that training and as a result of the resources that we provide, that our students are going to be able to go back into their communities. They're going to be able to have be generating income and salaries that allow them to be contributors within these communities and not at the mercy of the people who make decisions with their communities, right? In my mind, in 5 years, our students are going to be making 6 figures. Some of them already are making 6 figures. And as a result of that, they can actually donate to campaigns and to politicians that are going to push their agendas and their ideas forward. And for those who don't want to go into the actual technology industry, I envision a world where they start companies that are valued at like $1 billion and they exit. And then as a result of that, they start creating their own America on Tech all over the country, where they use the companies that they're building to employ people that look like them. And so the vision is really big, for where we want to go and what we see. But ultimately for us, it's just making sure that whatever it is that we do, the play and the goal is economic empowerment and influence. So that people and our students particularly have a seat at the table in a world where we try to silence young voices, and in a world where we're not kind to young people and the kind of struggles that they go through.
Forget having a seat at the table. Y'all done built the whole table. Y'all invited the guests. You opened up the door. Y'all are doing a lot. And I really appreciate that. And I also think that focusing on the economic advancement is one of the things that will definitely take that extremely far, because that's one of the things that I don't think people actually focus on, that can change our narrative, that can redefine exactly what we're doing in the Black and the Brown community. So I have the most kudos to you on that. With that, like what is your call to action? Like, what can we do right now to like help with what you're doing with America on Tech?
Yeah, for sure. I already told you all earlier that it really does take a village. And while we've been really successful at doing things and building things, we could always use more support. If you're looking for ways to volunteer, you can sign up on our website. If you're looking for ways to get your company involved in hiring our students, whether part-time, full-time, or for internships, please get involved. There's a section of our website where you can just fill out a form and someone on our team will get back to you. Also, if you want to donate, there's a donate button on our website. So I guess the one thing I'll say is go to the website. It's a really robust website where you can input your information, and our team is super responsive to communication if you want to get involved. I think the other thing I'll say is for anyone who is in a position of power is to really think about how you contribute to your communities, even if it's not with America on Tech. It's just how, do you give voice and how do you empower, the young people in your communities to know that there is a brighter future for them and for themselves. And if it means that you do that with the America on Tech organization, we really appreciate it. But I think my call to action for just anyone who's watching is just to get involved. Right now is really the time to do so. And if you want to get involved with us, then I definitely encourage it.
Absolutely. So everybody, on the previous screen when she's all full by herself, it says just worldwide. That is her Instagram. Please feel free to go follow her so that you can look at the website and get all the information that you need. I really think that there's some great resources, and I think that this is a great organization, and I'm excited to celebrate you for Women's History Month, because what you're doing is amazing. What your team is doing is amazing, and y'all are definitely living history. And I think that it's so important for us to celebrate people who are living history, because oftentimes we talk about the people in the past and the things that they've done, and we don't give people flowers when they're here. And it's important for you to know, obviously you've seen your own resume, like that you're 30 under 30, 40 under 40, like what you're doing. But I wanted to make sure that Unscripted showed you some love as well. So thank you for redefining our narrative. Thank you for focusing on economic empowerment, technology. Thank you for being in the future.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. I always say that part of helping out is helping to spread awareness. So I really am appreciative to you and Unscripted for inviting me to share more about what we're doing over at America on Tech.
Absolutely. And I don't think this will be the last of it, because my brain was churning while you were talking, and I just know that we'll be able to figure out something. We're in tech too, so like we're definitely gonna figure out ways to work together. I'm excited for you. Is there anything else that you want to share with the audience or with anyone while you're here? Because we'd love to just make sure that we hear everything about you.
No, just make sure you follow the America on Tech organization at America on Tech on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And I look forward to keeping in touch with everyone who's on the line.
Awesome. Well, I 100% appreciate you, and we will definitely be in touch. Thank you for sharing America on Tech with us, and thank you for being an amazing woman in history.
Yeah.
All right. And let's see. I am going to keep it rolling, but like I really just want to appreciate Jessica right now, because she's an amazing woman who is doing amazing things. And this is a part of the show that we're doing every week. We want to make sure that we always are celebrating living history, that we're always talking to people who are doing really dope things, redefining our narratives in our communities, and just have a story to tell. So we appreciate her for sharing her story, for sharing her narrative. She's really dope individual. Don't forget to follow her on Instagram at Just Worldwide. And again, make sure that you check out America on Tech. Follow them on all platforms. Same spelling, same name. She's really dope. We appreciate her. And now what we're going to do is we're going to talk about another person who, let me see, I think I have a whole page I can pull up real quick. So right now we're going to talk about somebody who I actually connected with a while ago. So Maya Table is a really amazing director out of Atlanta. She does some really dope things. I'm a fan of hers. And this month is Cerebral Palsy Awareness Month. And it was important that I saw it. I actually know some people in my family who have cerebral palsy, and there's a lot of misconceptions about people who have cerebral palsy or people who have disabilities in general. So when I saw her film that she made about Damian Gross, who was also in DC, I loved it. And I thought that it was something that we should definitely share on Unscripted, because not only is she being a redefiner by creating this narrative, by sharing his authentic documented story on screen for people to kind of learn more about his amazing pursuit to become a model, but she's also utilizing her skill as a storyteller behind the camera, which is something that so many amazing Black creators are doing right now, and we don't often get to see it. We don't often get to celebrate it. So this moment right now, we're going to celebrate both Maya and Damien. We're going to watch their amazing film that they put together. It's about 10 minutes long, so that's what's going to be up next. And then I'm going to come back and just kind of catch up with some of the stuff that we talked about earlier, and then just run through the show and let you guys know some of the fun things that are coming up on Unscripted next. So without further ado, I really want you guys to kind of learn more about Damien Gross and his story, and to see why it was so important for Maya to share that narrative. And then we're going to actually celebrate an amazing nonprofit that kind of speaks on this topic. So let's go right into their movie.
My name is Damien Gross,
I was diagnosed with cerebral palsy.
and I want to work in New York Fashion Week.
Yeah, baby.
My name is Damien Gross. I'm 20 years old. I'm from Washington, D.C., but I currently live in Atlanta.
What's the biggest misconception about you?
The biggest misconception about me, people, they always think I'm stupid, like I don't know how to do anything for myself. And it's just crazy because a lot of people think because you have a disability that you're just helpless and you can't do nothing for yourself. But when they hear me talk and see how educated I am, they be blown away every time. With toothbrush in Spanish, it says cepillero de... I don't know that quite yet, and I'm still trying to learn, just trying to expand my vocabulary. And this is for mirror, el espejo. I think I said it right. And this is for sink, la vendimados. And this is for shower. I don't know this quite yet neither, but if I said it wrong, I'm sorry, I'm still trying to learn. So a lot of people think since I'm disabled that it's really hard for me to get up in the morning and do things, but as you guys can see, I have the same tub like you guys in the same sink area. There's nothing accessible in here for me to do because I can easily climb in the tub. I can show you guys actually. It's really simple. I just put my hand on the wall right here and get in. See how easy that was? Now, for some people with cerebral palsy, because that's the disability I have, they have like certain levels to where people are nonverbal or they just like stuck in a wheelchair. So they have like accessibility bathtubs and sinks and stuff, so it would be easier for them. But for me, I don't need anything, you know, with extra stuff on it. So this is me coming up. See? And as long as it's just everything is close by to something I can grab on, it's not that hard for me to, you know, just put my hand on and step out. For those of you who don't know, I am a triplet. We were born 6 months early. So when you're born like 6 months or 5 months or early period, you're bound to have a birth defect. And I guess I was the chosen one to have a birth defect. So this is a picture of all of my brothers, well, me and my brothers. I really don't know which one is me because we all look alike, but I'm really thinking this one is me because my mom would always tell me that I would always be in the rocket chair, eating, sleeping, and just having fun in it. I guess I like to rock back and forth in it. Yeah, so this is me, I guess. Honestly, I always knew I was different from my brothers. And I wasn't necessarily mad at that, but I wasn't happy either. I was like, okay with it. I guess you could say. So my parents like really first noticed when babies start to crawl, when they like start to sit up on their own and walk and crawl and stuff. And my other brothers, they were like crawling and stuff, but I would like be sliding on my stomach or I like couldn't sit up on my own. I'm just lucky to have the surgery so I can be able to walk, because I was in a wheelchair for maybe the 5 to 6. Then I got surgery. Then I had a walker to help me walk. And then now I don't use a walker anymore. So these are some of the quotes I have on my mirror. This one says, your happiness is your responsibility. And this one says, create that life that you want. And this I really like because you can create the life you want, any life you want. You could be an astronaut, singer, and just anything you want. And you know, a lot of people tell me that I can't do certain things, but I really don't listen to them because at the end of the day, it's my life and I have to make those choices for myself. They can't. I really like cooking. My grandmother would like always be baking and like making little stuff, and I would always help her bake, and she would like teach us some of her recipes and stuff. So that's really one of my favorite things I like to do. And my mom, it's funny because she always be calling me. She'd be like, "Oh, what did you cook today, Betty Crocker?" Now, you have to put a little bit of salt in so that the noodles won't stick to the pot. Now I'm putting it into this bowl so it won't overcook. First, let's pray. I forgot the regular prayer. You say food, so I'm just gonna say a regular old prayer. Thank you, God, for helping me prep this meal. Make sure you remove all the dirt that fell in here, if it did, and just bless our foods before we put it in our mouths. Amen.
Yes, amen.
That's really good. Mm-hmm. But on a scale from 1 to 10, I'll do 7.
I agree.
What do you give it?
I think I'll give it a 7. 7.4, let's say.
So it's not that bad.
Not that bad.
Could have been better.
Could have been better. We'll do better next time.
Yep. Just last night on Twitter, somebody said, how did you tweet that? Who types this for you? They had the nerve to say that I was too intelligent to be disabled. I was like, y'all are really crazy. So you're basically saying that a disabled person, in order for me to be disabled, I have to be dumb. Now, there are some kids and people that can't do stuff really so, but it's a lot of kids like me that can talk, walk, type, and do all stuff like y'all can do. So my challenge is called 10 push-ups for Damien challenge. Okay, so first I posted a push-up video because, well, I wanted to show the world how it is for a disabled person to work out and do push-ups. And before I did that video, I could barely do push-ups as it is. Like, it was very hard to me to even do 2 push-ups. So I like really pushed myself to limit in that video. That's why I was tearing up and crying, because I was like, wow, you really did it. And when I posted it, it just went crazy. The reason why I started fitness because I want to use that to get me healthy, for modeling, to have my body in shape, to have the stamina, and to be able to look good if I work on one race one day. One of the little boys, he had to be about 6 or 7. He said that I made him stop bullying people at his school. And I was like, wow, I really did that? It's just amazing how many people you can touch and what you can just do to change their lives. Fashion is really important to me because, for one, you always have to look your best no matter where you go, because you never know who you might see. People probably look at me, they don't think that I'm a real model because I'm disabled, or I just wear like streetwear clothes, or they just think I'm just taking regular pictures, but it's more to it than just taking pictures, because it's really art, if you want to put it like that. And even other people with certain disabilities that we get pushed on the back burner and just tossed away. Like we're just a piece of trash. So I would like to see myself on a billboard, walking major runways in Paris and like all over the world. So Dapper Dan, if you see this, please hire me. Let me be like your top line model that you always come to and want in your events or campaigns, because I will do you justice. That will show people in my community, the disabled community, that they could do anything they put their minds to. Well, one thing I want y'all to know about me is that I'm always going to speak my truth and live my truth. I'm always going to stand in my truth. I'm always going to be doing what I love doing, and that is modeling and inspiring others. And I hope when you see this film, I hope it inspired you in some way, and I hope it really changed your mind about the disabled community, or change your perceptions, I should say.
Yeah, baby.
That was amazing. Hopefully, you guys were able to catch all of that, and hopefully, you learned a lot more about cerebral palsy. Again, this is Cerebral Palsy Awareness Month. So, if you do know someone, now you know a little bit more. But with that being said, we want to thank Damien for sharing his story and for being open with everything that he's going through. And then we also want to thank Maya for actually seeing that this was a narrative that needed to be shared. We do have a lot of stigma in the Black community around disabilities and even how we approach the ability of what people can do. And I'm really glad to actually be able to see a different narrative. And on top of that, one of the things that we want to do on Unscripted is we want to highlight amazing nonprofits that are doing amazing, great things. So one of the nonprofits that we actually want to highlight today is called Here for a Reason. And this nonprofit is ran by Melanie Oates, who is a mother of two twins that also have different abilities. One has autism, and the other one has a disease that I do not know the name. As a matter of fact, she put up a post today where she was saying how I feel when I'm trying to tell people the name of my daughter's disease, and it was like she was just like saying gibberish, because that it's one of those unnamed super rare diseases. But anyway, she's a really strong woman. She's done an amazing job raising both of her children, pushing them to their utmost abilities. They're both brilliant kids. But what I love about her nonprofit is that she talks about how no matter what happens, no matter what the disability is, you are here for a reason. And she helps these children, but she really helps their caregivers, because oftentimes people don't think about what the caregiver has to go through in order to make sacrifices and to do what they have to do to take care of these children, and oftentimes even through adulthood, who need their support. So we just want to give you a special shout out, Melanie Oates, for being so amazing. I've known you for a while now, but I'm really proud of you, and I just want to tell you to keep pushing. You are here for a reason, and we appreciate everything that you're doing. So thank you for being you, and thank you for being a redefiner. So this is another person who's really doing great things. So thank you. And on top of that, if you do have a nonprofit that focuses on the Black community and you're doing really great things, or you know someone and you want to submit them, feel free to send those over to me, Falashade at unscriptedtv.com. If they actually have a commercial or a video or anything like that that we could actually run during our shows, we would love to showcase it, because what we're doing here is we're trying to put people on who are doing great things in our communities, who are redefining moments, who are redefining our narratives, who are really speaking up and doing something that can change how we operate. That's what Unscripted is all about. We want to continue to push the needle. We want to continue to do these great things. And we want to continue to make sure that people know that we are here and we're here to stay and we're about to make some noise. So up next, we have amazing shows. Some of the shows that come on right after this is Unfriended at 9 p.m. I'm going to run a trailer for that. But then also, we're just going to run a few more trailers of shows that are going to be airing throughout this week. Like, we really would love for you to check out Unscripted, to be a part of our community, to just know what's going on. We'll do this every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can catch us live. We're going to discuss great things that are happening in the moment. We're going to also talk to amazing people and interview them and find out why they got into what they're doing. And then we're going to showcase music videos, nonprofits, and movies that we think are dope. So with that, we just want to thank you all for being here. Thank you for being a part of this narrative. And thank you for being you. So please check out these trailers, and we'll see you again next week.
This is Unfriended.
Hey, this is your boy JP Justice, and catch me each and every Tuesday on Unfriended, the only place where social media conflict gets dealt with in real life.
Tuesdays at 9 p.m., only on Unscripted TV.
Problematic time transplant.
You gotta have that dedication and that motivation, not only motivate yourself, but everybody around you. This is the room where the fire started out. It's still surreal just even being there and being behind it. That smell ain't leave a crib yet. I still got that smell of my clothes.
Thank God, everybody's still alive.
Yo, that's a fact.
And we bless everybody every day on this block, 98th Street, East Elmhurst, New York.
My grandmother's things, my family's things. Imagine your life in boxes. Imagine years of memories just in boxes.
The bullet comes through my window. Comes through my window. I like a little headboard thing. Through the headboard. And winds up on my dresser.
Anything that I do going forward is for you. Every fiber that's in me, I pass on to you. I want to inspire you. I don't want you to ever be like me. Be better. Always be better. Strive to be better. I love you, King.
All right, guys. Thank you all so much. We'll see you again next week. You have a good one.